Hello everyone, welcome back. Move my microphone a little bit. My name is Shannon. This is Made by Boo, and we are back for a normal episode after a month of little mini episodes every day. Hopefully some of what you were able to see was enjoyable. I think if I tried to do Vlogtober again, I might do like the week's worth, Monday through Friday into one little one, and do more compilations, because when I'm only opening one advent calendar and I'm going to work more often than not, it's hard to feel like it's very, very interesting. I am planning on doing Vlogmas, which I already have 2 of my advent calendars in, 1 of my advent socks. I have another advent calendar that is supposed to be delivered today. So I'm going to have a little bit more to open and specific holiday things to work on. So hopefully that'll be a little bit more like it was last year. But today we are just back to normal. I have 2 finished objects, a half-finished object, and 2 works in progress, as well as a few things that I am thinking about doing. So we will dive right in with the first finished object. You saw this in the thumbnail. This is a teeny little fox. It's a tiny kit from the Woobles. They make some of their like teeny tiny ones where you can like add on a tiny kit for $5. And so this is the Wee Woobly Fox. I just kind of wanted something teeny tiny to cast on and finish while I was in between projects. My youngest daughter is super into foxes right now, so she doesn't know 100% this is for her. She saw it, loved it, and I told her she couldn't take it because I was filming today. But we have already named him Foxo. And yeah, he's going to go and live with her probably as soon as I'm done filming. And he will have a very, very happy home with my 8-year-old. It was super simple. I did him over like a couple of days just after work this week. And I probably could have finished him a little bit faster, except I wasn't trying to finish him super fast. So this is finished object number 1, just a teeny one. Finished object number 2. You will have seen a little bit if you were watching along through all of October when I cast this on. I needed a project to work on. I had finished a pair of socks. What socks was I doing? Oh, I was doing socks for my daughter, and I had finished those, needed something as a good travel project because none of my other projects were good for travel. And so I just looked through, grabbed some yarn, wound it up real quick to do some simple socks. The yarn I selected was from Lady Purl, and it was the colorway Sauce Squish. She does these little like themed boxes every month. I found some of them on Etsy. They're not like a subscription, so I don't always see what they are, and I've been trying very hard not to buy too much yarn this year, so I have not been looking on Etsy. But I started and got most of one sock done in a week. I can't remember why I was able to get so much done. Oh, I took it because I was going to watch The Corpse Bride with my daughter, and I started it there, and then I was able to just kind of zoom through because I got it going pretty quick. And then the day that I cast on the second sock, we went to a Boise State game. So I got through most of the leg, and I want to say I even might have started the heel flap while sitting at the football game. So they went really fast, took me like a week and a half to make these socks. And then my half-finished object, I'm not sure that you would have seen if you'd been watching the last month. This is one glove. This is using yarn from Knitted Niceties. I do not remember the color. I had made both of my daughters a pair of socks out of this yarn, and I had 2 different skeins, and one of them tried them on, and she just was very, very nice about it, but she was like, Mom, I just don't think knitted socks are my thing. It's very uncomfortable. So we pulled out the yarn and so that we could recycle it, and she decided last year she'd like a pair of gloves, and I'm finally getting around to them this year. So the pattern I'm using is Phoebe's Simple Knitted Gloves by Folkestone Harbor Yarn. It is a DK weight, but this is fingering weight yarn that I'm holding double, and I've made one glove so that my daughter could kind of try it on. There's still a lot of ends in there, which I know makes it slightly less comfortable. And she tried it on, and she can't decide if she likes the way these tips are. So we're going to block it after filming today and see how that affects it. The other part she's not sure. So this is knitted flat. It took me a minute to figure out the process, but I actually kind of really like it. It was fun. And I'm thinking about making myself a pair of gloves using this pattern as well. There's 2 sizes, the women's and the men's. The men's size is a couple of stitches bigger all around. And I might make myself the men's size, at least in the finger length. The women's size does look like it fits pretty well, though. But yeah. So it's a half-finished object because we are intentionally taking our time in between the 2 gloves, because if she absolutely hates them and will never ever wear them, we're not sure that we're going to bother with me knitting the other glove. So for right now, half-finished, we'll block it and see how it goes from there. All right. So, 2 works in progress. Little bit of kind of backstory on this. If you haven't been around for very long, I did set up a bingo card at the beginning of the year to try to encourage me to work on certain projects using yarn I already owned. So one of the things on that I'm getting down to the end, I only have 3 things left. One of them was that pair of gloves. Another one was to do something that was color work. And I selected a kit that I had to make a hat. So I have a pair of gloves for one daughter. A hat is going to be for another daughter. So I realized I really just needed one more project, and I have plenty of time to do these because they're both little projects. If I pick one project for my third daughter, they can each get a hand-knitted gift for Christmas. So they weren't really secrets. I asked my daughter. I knew she'd probably want socks because she is my daughter that wears her hand-knit socks almost as often as I do. And asked her, do you want dark, bright, light? She gave me a range. I picked out a few. And from there, she picked out the yarn. What she picked out was the color Frosty Fox from Yarnable. So this is from December of 2023. So it is one that I've had for a minute. And I barely started on it yesterday. So I just have I can't even say the cuff. I've started on the cuff, but it's this very pretty blue. I'm already really liking the way the light and the dark of it works up. So I will be making a pair of socks for one of my daughters so that all 3 of them get a hand knit gift for Christmas. If I get a little more time, I may try to make something for my husband as well, but I've already made him a hat and a pair of socks recently, so I'm not as worried about that. Especially since he does like his new Musselboro hat, but how many hats does he need to wear at a time? He's happy with the one he has right now, and he hasn't started wearing the socks I made him yet, so making him another pair might be jumping the gun a little bit. So, simple pair of socks, not very far, but it is nice to use some of my old Yarnable. The last project, the other project that I have in progress right now, it's in my sweater bag, if that gets you a hint. The last thing I had on my bingo card was a sweater. I've made a couple of sweaters this year, but the one I made last month was with yarn that I had recently purchased. This is one that I had planned for that category in order to make a sweater from yarn I already had. I bought this yarn last year around Christmas, and I don't know why. I knew I didn't have time, but I wanted to make myself a Christmas sweater that I could wear. Not necessarily like a color work festive sweater like that, but just Christmas colors. So I bought 4 of these cakes from Hobbii. It's Christmas Horizon. And I've already worked my way through one. I'm about halfway through the second one. So I don't think I'm going to need all 4 for the sweater, but here we are. So here's the other half-ish of the yarn. And what I decided to do, I have to separate these out. So here is the front already. I am doing this as a granny square. And then when I got close to where I'd want the neckline, I just kind of slip stitched over and then started going up and around. So I was just going back and forth to do a little bit more. And so here's the front. And then when I got to the end, I did just kind of a single stitch round to give myself space so that I can crochet the pieces together as I go. I need to make sure I know how big to leave for the arm, but then I'll pick up the stitches on the arms and try to do as little seaming as possible with this. So I have the front panel done, and then here I am on the back panel. The back panel is still attached to the yarn. So I got through, I switched yarns from the first cake around here on the back panel. So I got through quite a bit with one cake. I might dip into the third cake while doing the sleeves and neck and everything, but I'm not sure yet. So I think I am at the same place that I started doing the neck hole from the front. And I'm kind of just making this up as I go. The overall square needs to be the same size, I think. But what I want to do for the back is maybe do a couple of extra rounds before I split for the neck hole. Partially so that I could really tell the front from the back, but also I don't like a super high neck, but I don't necessarily need as much of an opening in the back as in the front. So I'm not 100% sure I'm doing this correctly. I didn't buy a pattern. I just kind of looked at some big pictures and figured it's a couple of granny squares. Just go for it. And then as I got closer, it was yeah, but if I just keep going for it, it's going to be a super high neck. And yeah, so I did a little bit of shaping there. I don't know what I'm doing. But so far it seems to be coming together. We'll see if it keeps coming together. I'm hoping this weekend to be able to join the front and the back panel. The whole project seems to be going pretty quickly. And so I'm hoping that I can get it going pretty quickly because this is one of the 3 projects I have left on my bingo card. I have this sweater, the pair of gloves, and then a color work hat. And I'm halfway through the gloves. The sweater is almost halfway through. It would be really nice to feel like I'm mostly or completely through this bingo card before we hit December. And I feel like I have less time because I have a few things to work on during December. Let me put these down and then we'll talk more about that. Okay, so that was all of my finished objects, half-finished objects, works in progress. It is less than I normally would have, partially because the glove is a half-finished object, and I am looking at starting a third one, but I don't know if that third one is going to be continuing the gloves or starting the hat. But normally I do have 3 projects going at once. But I am recording on Saturday, so it is November 8th. And so we have a few weeks until Christmas. I already did the Christmas sweater ornaments for the year. This was the last year I was going to do them, so I don't have to worry about anything like that. But we are getting close to what people would call Advent season if they're doing yarn advents. Or, I guess if they just call Christmas season that way. So I do have a few advents this year. So I ordered one from Polka Dot Creek that was a 12-day yarn advent. I've already received my Ruby and Roses yarn advent. I have Lofty Loops, which the tracking says it will arrive today. Chelsea Yarns, I believe, is supposed to arrive on Wednesday. And then I did order one from my local yarn store, which will be available to pick up after Thanksgiving. So I have a few different yarn advent calendars that I will be opening. I did also order technically 3 advents that are work on during the advent season. So I did order the Woolens and Nosh socks again this year, and the oh my goodness, Cozy Comfort? No, because that's a blanket. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the name. It's another pair of Advent socks. I know I have it in here because they should be shipping out soon. Oh my goodness, it's going to take me a minute to scroll to them, but it's going to bug me if I don't. The Cozy Knitter. There we go. I knew it was cozy. The Cozy Knitter socks I also ordered again this year. I was only going to order one or the other, and I was leaning towards the Cozy Knitter simply because you can do 2 pairs of socks. So for the last 2 years, I've ordered those, and then I've done a pair for me during Advent season and a pair for my mom later. So we have coordinating socks. Not quite matching because we have different sized feet, so the heel goes in different places. But then the Woolens and Nosh this year was Pacific Northwest themed. And I mean, I live in Idaho, which is and isn't the Pacific Northwest. It really depends on who you ask, and I don't care enough. But I just loved the idea of it with the colors and the theme they had. It was like, nope, that's what I want. I need that one as well. So I have those 2 socks that I'm planning on working on throughout December. Hold on, the dog wants in the room. Sorry, if I didn't let the dog in the room, she was going to keep scratching at the door, and eventually was going to get to barking, and it was just going to get harder and harder to talk. So I have those socks that I was planning on doing just like I did last year. Stripe a day, get them done by Christmas Eve. At some point here, I will start working on the cuffs for the woolens and nosh, so those are ready before the first day of December. I did vaguely think about just trying to do, like doing those ones during November and then just not showing them until after Christmas and having them be kind of a pre-Advent sock, but I'm not doing that. I'm just not at this point. So that's 2 pairs of socks. I did even think about being crazy and splitting my cozy knitter socks beforehand and working on 3 pairs so that my mom's are done, but that just seemed like it was going to be a little bit too much. So I have the 2 pairs of socks. The other Advent project that I ordered, I'm kind of 50-50 if I'm going to try to complete it during the month of December. So who is it from? Oh my goodness. I'm trying to get better at remembering who did these things before I start filming, and then I just can't remember all the time. So last year I heard about it when it was a little bit too late, and it is by Sarah, I think it's Shira, Schira. I will put a link below, but she does a gnome make-along. So last year it was Nana's Visit, and I just heard that they're going to send you clues, and when you're all done, you get the parts of the pattern, a little bit every day or every week, and little parts of the story and all, like some recipes and fun stuff. And at the end, you have this cute little gnome. Well, I saw the kits to make it, where it had a few different ideas of how to make it advertised through FanGirl Fibers, and that's where it was like, ooh, I have a chance to do it this year before I'm too late. Because last year I heard about it too late and wasn't able to get it anymore. So this year I did sign up to do, I guess it's Granddad's Adventure, because it's spelled with gnome. And so I'm signed up for that. I have a kit coming to do that from FanGirl Fibers. I probably could have just raided my stash for mini skeins, but they had little skis, and I could have just ordered the little skis from her, but I ordered a kit. I got the Sherlock Gnomes kit. I had a few that I liked. I showed the colors to the rest of my family. We all kind of voted, and Sherlock Gnomes was what we landed on. And then when I was signing up to buy that pattern to make sure I was not too late this year, I saw that you could get the pattern for Grandma from last year. And there was one that might have been from another year, but he was so cute, and he's called Professor Fungi, so I ended up buying that pattern too. So I don't know if I'm going to try to do the Advent Gnome during December, or if I'm just going to knit him later. But I do have the stuff coming for him as well. So I do really want to get these projects done before December so that I could do as many of these silly little Advent projects as I'd like. But I mean, I'm going to be working throughout the month. I will take a couple of days off at like right around Christmas, but I mean, as you saw during October, I go into work pretty early. I get home and it's family stuff, and it's during the week, it's not as much project knitting time as I would like. So doing 2 pairs of socks on the stripes is probably already a stretch. But we'll see. I might try to do it. And I figured I'm going to raid my stash for colors to do Grandma, but I'm going to wait until I get my mini skeins in for Granddad, so I can make sure their colors are not the same, but they at least look good together so that they can go on the shelf together. And I don't know what I'm going to do Professor Fungi, but he was just so cute because he was a little mushroom gnome. So that's kind of my project planning ideas for trying to clear stuff out before going into Christmas. So being almost done with that sweater, I'd really, really like that to be done before December 1st. Because then I can wear it to work all through December. I'm not too worried about the socks I'm starting. Those will be a decent enough travel project. Maybe. Some of my plans have changed recently. We'll get into that in a minute. Because there's some unknowns there. But I'm not too worried about getting a pair of socks done in a month. That glove went incredibly quickly. So assuming that I block it and it all works out well, I'm not too worried about getting one more glove. And I may just pull out the hat pattern and start on that just so that I'm not too far behind on everything. And then maybe if I get time, I'll start working on a gnome. I don't know. We'll kind of go from there. Life stuff, you saw most of my life during October that I could share. Everything else was just work. And that's, I don't want to say it's boring, because obviously it's at least a little bit interesting to me, or I wouldn't do it. But there's just not much to share there. Since I stopped filming every day, on the 1st of November, we went to the Fresno State game. My husband kind of considered Fresno, California, his hometown for a long time. He was raised in the military, and they had family there, so he graduated high school there. He did not go to Fresno State, but Fresno was always that kind of place they'd go back to. So he kind of figured whoever wins, he's happy with. We have yet to go to a Boise State game where Boise wins, though, so I'm really thinking we're not good luck for them. But we had a lot of fun at the game. We watched Wicked, which I had not seen the Wicked movie, but my middle child was really getting after us that you guys need to see it so that we can be prepared to go when the movie comes out. So we did watch it. My husband thought the movie was playing a lot closer to the beginning of November than it actually was. So we're prepared now. And then normal-ish week of work. Things got a little chaotic paperwork-wise. But again, when you're looking at like treatment plans and insurance forms and things like that, that's not very exciting. It just kind of, the long and the short of it is I had a lot of stuff due that I was not expecting to have to do any work on in a very short time, so I ended up with a couple of long days. And then the part that makes my travel projects a little uncertain is I didn't get in a car accident last night. I was turning the corner coming home, and the person in front of me, I don't know if they were at a stop or at a crawl, but I was definitely taking that corner a little slower than I normally would. And some poor kid, mom was there, said he got his license just this year, ran right into the back of me. When he got out, he said a car next to him was yelling. So, I mean, me slowing down more than he would have expected and him losing his focus for a minute. Everyone was okay, but my wonderful new car that I got, I've only had it a little over a year. I'm hoping it is okay. It was a Friday night, so we take it into a collision shop Monday morning, and I am just terrified they're going to say that the sensors are too expensive to fix or something like that. It didn't look like too much damage, but as soon as I put my car in reverse, it's telling me very clearly my sensors have been damaged. So, we kind of have my old van, but we were not as vigilant as we needed to be on driving it, and the battery is currently dead. It needed an oil change, things we were putting off. So for this next week, at the very least, I might be out of car. We're going to wait and see what the body shop says. I mean, from what everybody kind of could tell at the beginning, I'm not at fault. I'm okay. This kid was okay. I mean, the poor kid felt really bad, but I mean, I don't know what to do at this point other than cross my fingers and hope that my baby car is good. I'm not going to share any pictures of the car or anything on here because, I mean, for one, they hit me right in the middle of my license plate. And as much as I like my license plate, I don't really think the general public needs to see that. But it is also just one of those things where it's all off to insurance now and there's nothing else we can do but hope the body shop says that it's just like the frame, and once the frame is done, it wasn't like the sensors damaged. They're just, the plastic around it was off. I don't know. Anyways, that's all that I have for today. I'm going to go ahead and get this editing and processing and get my socks and that glove soaking for a good block. I think I'm going to have to go to the grocery store later. Yeah, nothing else really exciting at this point, and I'm definitely rambling a little bit. Let's just face it, getting rear-ended after a couple of long days at work is just the last thing you need to do. And having it happen on a Friday night where you just get to sit there and wait to hear from the body shop until they can look at it the next week doesn't help either. However, but up, walking around, everything's fine. Was able to drive away from the accident. So, I mean, definitely could have been much worse. And today I have my knitting, my everybody around me, and I get to tell my little one that she gets this tiny little fox in about 5 minutes. So, all good things today. Have a very, very good day yourselves, and I will see you again in a couple of weeks.